The lights of the ABC studio blazed across the stage, washing everything in that polished, golden sheen that only morning television could produce. The set of The View looked inviting as always. Pastel furniture, a glimmering desk, and 5 coffee mugs waiting like soldiers for the show's opening chatter. But there was an extra hum in the air that morning, the kind that comes before a storm. The audience knew it. The crew knew it. Even the hosts seemed to sense something was different, because today, sitting in the green room behind the curtain, was Jack Nicholson. Producers had hyped his appearance for days. It had been years since the Hollywood legend had appeared live on national television. He'd agreed to promote a new documentary about his career, but everyone suspected he might say anything once the cameras rolled. Jack was famously unpredictable, charming one minute, terrifying the next, and Joy Behar, who thrived on provocation, was already sharpening her tongue for him. "All right, people, remember, keep it light," the producer warned through the earpiece as the countdown began. "He's here to talk movies, not start World War III. "Good luck with that," Joy muttered, smirking. The music hit. "Live from New York, it's The View," the announcer's voice boomed. The audience erupted, the applause cue flashing red. Whoopi Goldberg smiled wide as she addressed the crowd. "Welcome, everybody. We've got a legendary guest today, one of Hollywood's greatest, and a man whose work has shaped generations. Please welcome the one and only Jack Nicholson." So, doors opened, and out walked Jack, sunglasses on, grin confident, that familiar swagger in his step. The audience leapt to their feet, the applause deafening. He paused at the edge of the stage, giving that famous sly smirk, then gestured to the crowd as if saying, "You're too kind." "Look at this guy," Whoopi said, rising to give him a hug. "We thought you retired to some mountain somewhere." "Almost did," Jack rasped, sliding into the guest chair. "Then someone told me you were talking about me without me. Couldn't let that slide." The audience laughed, loving every second of it. Joy leaned forward, eyes gleaming. "Oh, don't worry, Jack. We only said good things. Mostly." Jack grinned. "Mostly? Well, that's one word I don't hear often." Whoopi jumped in, trying to keep things playful. "Jack, you've got this new documentary coming out. People are calling it a love letter to old Hollywood. What made you want to do it?" Jack shrugged. "Time," he said simply. "I figured I'd better tell my story before somebody else does. You hang around this town long enough, people start writing your ending for you." That earned a round of applause. He was smooth, collected, perfectly in control. The conversation rolled easily for the first few minutes. Talk of The Shining, Chinatown, Wild Nights with Marlon Brando, and how the industry had changed. But Joy Behar wasn't content to let him coast. She waited until he was mid-story, the audience hanging on every word before cutting in. "You know, Jack, speaking of Wild Nights," she said with that mischievous tone, "you had a bit of a reputation back in the day, didn't you?" Jack chuckled softly. "You'll have to be more specific, sweetheart." The audience laughed, but Joy pressed. "Come on, you know what I mean. You were the original bad boy of Hollywood. The parties, the women, the temper. People said you were dangerous." Jack's grin tightened slightly. "People say a lot of things. Keeps the tabloids busy." "Oh, don't play coy," Joy said, leaning closer. "You were the guy every woman wanted and every man wanted to punch. Don't tell me you don't love that reputation just a little." Whoopi shot her a warning look, but Joy didn't stop. The crowd was laughing, waiting for Jack's reaction. For a moment, he simply stared at her, the corners of his mouth curling into that trademark half-smile, the one that could turn sinister without warning. "You know, Joy," he said finally, his tone light but edged, "I've been called a lot of things in my life, dangerous, crazy, charming, even the devil himself, but I've never been called boring." The audience laughed again, but there was something sharper beneath the humor now. Joy chuckled, brushing it off. Oh, I didn't say you were boring, Jack. I just think it's interesting how guys like you get away with being, well, wild. If a woman acted like that in Hollywood, she'd be blacklisted. Jack nodded slowly. You might be right about that, he said. But you know what else? Back then, people didn't spend all day moralizing over headlines. We lived life, mistakes and all. The audience applauded, but Joy wasn't letting go. So you're saying there's nothing wrong with that behavior? No regrets? Jack's smile faltered. Regrets? Sure, but I don't need a morning talk show to remind me of them. Whoopi shifted in her seat. Okay, maybe we pivot. But Joy laughed nervously, pretending not to notice the change in his tone. Oh, come on, Jack. It's just conversation. You can handle a few tough questions, can't you? That was the moment the air shifted. The smile drained from Jack's face, replaced by that cold, piercing stare that once sent chills through moviegoers everywhere. He removed his sunglasses slowly, setting them down on the table. The audience went quiet. Tough questions, he repeated, his voice low, deliberate. There's a difference between a tough question and an insult disguised as curiosity. The audience reacted with a soft, collective murmur. Joy blinked, taken aback but trying to hold her ground. Excuse me, I was just being playful. He tilted his head. No, you were being condescending. Whoa, Joy said, hands up in mock surrender. Okay, no need to get so sensitive, Jack. Sensitive, Jack echoed, laughing humorlessly. You call it sensitivity. I call it being tired of people who think it's cute to poke at scars for a soundbite. The commercial break felt longer than usual, though it lasted less than 2 minutes. Producers huddled behind the cameras, whispering frantically into their headsets. The director's voice came through the control room feed. Keep it calm. Keep it light. No more digs at Nicholson. The audience murmured, leaning forward in their seats, eager for the fireworks to resume. The tension wasn't gone. It had merely taken a breath. And as the theme music faded back in, the view returned from break, though the atmosphere had shifted completely. Whoopi Goldberg, ever the professional, forced a bright smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Welcome back to The View. We're here with the legendary Jack Nicholson, talking about his incredible career and his new documentary about Hollywood through the decades. The applause sign flashed, but the clapping was hesitant. Even the audience seemed to know something volatile still simmered between Jack and Joy Behar. Jack leaned back in his chair, sunglasses on again, his grin easy and confident as if nothing had happened. Joy, on the other hand, sat rigidly upright, her mug untouched. She'd spent the commercial staring off into the crowd, jaw clenched. Whoopi tried to steer the energy back to safer territory. Jack, you've worked with everyone. Scorsese, Polanski, Kubrick. What do you think makes a great director? Jack smiled. A good director knows when to say action. A great director knows when to shut up and let the scene breathe. That got a few nervous chuckles. Whoopi smiled weakly. Well said. But Joy couldn't resist. She shifted forward, tapping her mug lightly. Speaking of letting things breathe, Jack, she said with a sharp little smile, I think we should talk about what just happened before the break. Because some people might say you had a bit of a meltdown. The studio inhaled as one. Whoopi froze mid-turn. Sonny Hostin mouthed a silent, oh no. Jack turned his head slowly toward her. The grin faded and the air thickened again. A meltdown? He said, voice low. Joy shrugged innocently. You got a little defensive, that's all. I was just asking questions. Jack nodded, taking a moment before replying. You know, Joy, when you frame a question like an accusation, you shouldn't be surprised when someone answers like they're on trial. The audience gasped softly. Joy's face tightened, but she kept her smile in place. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I was making conversation. That wasn't conversation, Jack said, leaning forward now, voice even. That was bait. You throw it out there, hoping someone takes the hook. That's not journalism, it's fishing for drama. Excuse me? Joy shot back. I've been doing this job for 25 years, Jack. I think I know the difference. Jack's grin returned, but it was razor sharp. Yeah, 25 years of cutting people off mid-sentence. You must be exhausted. Laughter erupted from the audience, loud and immediate. Even Whoopi had to bite back a smile, though she quickly raised her hands. All right. Let's keep this civil, people. Joy's cheeks flushed. Oh, you think you're funny, don't you? I think honesty's funny, Jack replied, especially in a room where people don't use it much. The tension crackled like static. The audience was on the edge of their seats. Sonny Hostin muttered, "We're trending already," under her breath, eyes darting toward the backstage monitor. Joe leaned in closer, eyes narrowing. You know, Jack, this is the view. We have discussions here. We don't just sit back and let our guests monologue about how great they used to be. Jack monologue. Big difference. Went wild. Joy. Blinked, speechless for half a second, something that rarely happened. Whoopi sighed, pressing her hand to her forehead. Okay, Whoopi said firmly. Let's all take a breath. This is live TV. But Joy wasn't done. No, I want to finish this, she said, her voice shaking slightly now, the veneer of calm, Jack.